Q&A in between the session, but we'll make sure that we have some time left at the end for you to ask questions. If you are going through any trouble during the session, please feel free to put your question or your doubts in the chat box. We have our leads, we have Abhi to help us during that time. Okay, that and like Abhirami already explained what Duet AI is, it's a coding assistant for us. And since it's an assistant which is based on large language models, it is non-deterministic in nature. So it may or may not give you same response for the same prompt that we put. It can give you same result, or it may not give same result for the same prompt that I put in your chat window versus in my chat window. Okay, so if at all at any point of time for whatever reason you get stuck and you're not able to proceed even after putting the message in the chat, please don't feel discouraged, please don't panic. Just try and follow what we are doing in the code lab or what we are doing live. Just try to learn that. Code lab link will be available for you. You can go ahead and complete at any point of time after this session as well. Okay, so shall we get started? Okay, all right, thank you. So in this code lab, like we have already explained, we are going to do a test-driven development. We are going to use Ruby programming language, and we'll take a lot of help from Duet AI. We'll ask Duet AI how we are going to do this. Okay, and we are going to develop a very simple application, which is a calculator app for this code lab. All right. So, and time to time, I might be asking you some questions or some confirmations. Please use the chat emojis to, a thumbs up to just tell me whether we are on the track or not.
Except crab.
Except for crab emoji. Okay, cool. So before we get started with our use case, there are some prerequisites that we need to do. Okay, so I'm assuming that you already have a project created and selected, and you're sure that your billing is enabled. Uh, Thumbs up if we are already there. Awesome. So since we are going to use Duet AI, we will have to enable Duet AI API. So go to your code lab, section 2 prerequisites. There's a section called enable the Duet AI API. There's a link over there for Duet AI marketplace. Uh, Please click on that. It will open a Duet AI marketplace API on a separate tab. Okay, you will see an enable button here to enable the Duet AI API. Since I have already enabled, this message is shown to me. I won't see that button again. So please go ahead and enable Duet AI API. Okay, and just like that, we are also going to use Cloud Functions, and we'll have to enable Cloud Functions API as well. So from your code lab, again, go to Cloud Functions API page, and you will be able to see an enable button over here as well. Once these APIs are enabled for you, you will see that message in green, API is enabled. Okay, are we all here? Cool. Now we'll just make sure that all our authentication, all our configuration in place. So we'll use Cloud Shell for that. Cloud Shell is an embedded terminal which is provided in your browser within Google Cloud Console, and which comes up with inbuilt all programming languages installed, Gcloud commands installed, all the basic necessities are installed, so you don't have to worry about that. You just focus on your project. Okay, so please open console.cloud.google.com. I'll just send the link in the chat. Once you open this, you will see a project selected like Abhi explained, and you will be on this home page, a dashboard. You'll be able to see a dashboard. Okay, once we are on the dashboard, on the top right corner, you will see a button. When you hover over it, it shows activate cloud shell. Please click on that and it will open up a window for you. It will take a couple of seconds to set it up. Okay, you will see a terminal at the bottom of your screen, and over there, this is your cloud shell. This is a terminal like you have in your laptops where you can just pass on some commands and verify whether you are okay or not, you're all set up or not. So for me, it shows my username at the rate cloud shell, and then it also shows my project ID. But we'll again verify whether things are fine, good, very well set up or not. So go back to your code lab and copy these commands. So I'm going to first copy gcloud auth list and paste it here. Once you do that, if you are authenticated, you should be able to see account and then your email ID most likely. Uh, is there anyone who's not able to see the account here? Okay. Okay, so go back to your code lab and see the next command. Gcloud config list project. It will list down all the projects that you have in your Google Cloud Console. So I'm assuming for majority of you guys, there will be only one project and which is selected. So you should be able to see a project that is selected for you. If in any case the project is not selected here, that means you haven't selected a project even from the drop down menu. So for that, what you can do is you can just use the next command gcloud config set project and then your project ID. How do you get your project ID? So from the drop down, you click the drop down on the top corner and there will be project name and the project ID. So just copy this project ID and keep it with you in some editor and then use this command. So since it is already set up for me, I don't need to do it, but I'm just going to show it to you. Okay, this is my project ID. It's now all set up for me. I'm sure that my authentication is in place and my project is also selected. Cool. Are we all here? Okay. So for this entire code lab, the only requirement is you have a web browser and you have your cloud billing enabled. Everything that we are going to do will be on this screen. You don't need to move away anywhere else, apart from the code lab tab. So in the cloud shell, you will see a button called Open Editor on the top right corner of the cloud shell. Please click on that. It will take again couple of seconds to set up for you because you will be doing it for the first time. This will open up a VS Code editor for you in the browser itself. So anything that we are going to do in this entire code lab will be on this screen. Okay. So once we are here, we have opened up our editor. Now, since we are going to develop in Ruby, we'll have to install an extension for Ruby syntax. So on the left hand side, there are a couple of icons. So one of the icon is for extensions. Just click on that extensions icon. You'll see a search box. In the search box, just type VS Code space Ruby. The first item that you see is the extension that we want to install. Since it's already installed for me, I don't see an install button here, but for you, it will show an install button just like here. Click on that install and it will take a couple of seconds to install the syntax. And you should be able to see a pop-up when it's done. Okay, I'll take a pause here and because we are ending the section after this and I'll wait for you guys to complete this part. Let me know once you're done. Please show thumbs up emoji so that we can proceed ahead.
Can you repeat the last step? There are questions about how to open the editor.
Okay. Okay. So we are here in the Cloud Shell. We opened it in the previous step.
Show how to open Cloud Shell.
Okay, so we are here in the dashboard page, home page of Google Cloud Console. On the top right corner, you will see an icon, a terminal icon, which says Activate Cloud Shell. Click on that and it will open up the Cloud Shell for you. This is a terminal. And but we are not going to work on terminal only. We'll work on the editor and then we'll run some commands on the terminal. So for now, just click on Open Editor. This will open the VS Code editor for you. It will be on the top right corner of the Cloud Shell window.
So,
Yeah, so once you have opened the editor, in the left hand side, you will see a lot of icons. So there is this icon with the squares. It is an extension icon. Just click on that. It will open the extensions window for you on the left hand side with a search bar which says search extensions in the marketplace. In the search bar, just type VS Code space Ruby. So whatever the first result is, this is what we want to install. You will be able to see an install button over here in the bottom of that VS Code Ruby extension. Just click on that install button and it will install the extension for you. Please show thumbs up emojis if you're done. Cool. Okay. So this was all our setup prerequisites. Now we'll get to our project. Okay. So let's warm up Duet AI. And before we do that, I want to know how many of you know about Ruby programming language, or how many of you have worked on Ruby programming language? Thumbs up. Nobody? Okay, cool. Very few. And how many of you know about test-driven development or have used in your career at any point of time? Okay, make sure. But very few again. Cool, interesting. So, okay, let's go ahead and use Duet AI now. So we are in this window. We install the exception. We have the editor open. Okay. Now, from the left-hand side menu, again, you will see bunch of icons. The the icon with of a message icon which has a star on top. It says Duet AI. Just click on that. It will open up a Duet AI chat window. You see a text box which says enter a prompt here. This is our text box where we are going to enter prompt, enter commands, enter some context for Duet AI, and Duet AI will display the answers here. So in the entire code lab, when I say let's ask Duet AI, this is what we are going to do. We are going to open the Duet AI chat window and we are going to enter some prompts over there. Okay, all right. Everybody is able to see the Duet AI chat window. Cool. So it will be easier for you to copy the commands or the prompts from the code lab, but it's up to you how you're going to manage it. If you want to type or copy paste, it's up to you. But it will be easier if you just copy paste. Again, just to reiterate, the result that I get may be completely different than the result you get. There are multiple ways of saying the same answer. There are multiple ways of doing the same code. So please don't panic on that. So let's just start with Duet AI. What is test-driven development? Okay, so it gives me an overview of what test-driven development is, and I'll just give you an overview of test-driven development. It's a software development methodology where you write tests first, okay, which will obviously fail because we don't have the code for it. And then we write the code and then we run the tests again. And if the test pass, meaning we have developed the code to satisfy those tests. This is just a way of another way of developing software, and it just helps you, you know, to bring up less bugs in the production when you do it because you have run the tests already. Okay, uh, let's go ahead and let's ask what is Ruby. Since a lot of us are new to Ruby, it will be better if we just have an overview of that. So in the prompt, let's just enter what is Ruby. Again, it gives you a lot of information about Ruby. I'll just tell you in just a nutshell what Ruby is. Ruby is an interpreted object-oriented programming language. It is designed to be easy to read and write, and yeah, it's a developer-friendly language. And we'll see how easy or how convenient it is for us in this code lab. Cool. So are we all warmed up? Are we excited for the next steps? Awesome. Let's go to the next step now. So for our project, we'll just create some skeleton for now. Okay. So I want you to go back to the uh, your Google Cloud Console tab, and again in the left hand side menu, you will see Explorer tab from second from the top. Please click on that. You will see your username here and the bunch of files or directory that we have inside the username as of now. Okay, so what we'll do is you will see at the top right there are four icons. One of the icons is to create folder. When you hover over it, shows new folder. So just click on that and it will open a text box for you. In the text box, we are going to type the name of the folder, the name of the project that we are going to create. You can name it whatever you want, but for this session, we'll call it Duet AI TDD. Okay. Once you're done, just click enter. You should be able to see the folder created under your username. Okay. Okay. So once we've created this folder, I just want that folder to be open here for simplicity so that we don't have clutter of information here. Let's go back to this left hand side menu where we have three lines. Just click on that and there will be file on top, file menu, and then from file menu there will be an open folder. Okay. So let's just click on that open folder. You will see a home folder, and then whatever files you have inside the home folder, most likely you'll have your username over there. So just click on that username, and then again you will see all the files and folders inside the username. So just scroll down and look for the folder that you just created. For me, it's Duet AI TDD. If you have followed the same name, just look for that or whatever name you have created. Once you have located it, just click on that. It won't give you any files because we haven't created any files under it. And then click OK. So now you see in the Explorer tab on the left hand side, I'm able to see only Duet AI TDD folder. Uh, are you guys able to follow me?
No, ma'am, it is too fast.
Cool. Okay. So once we have the folder created and opened, you will see on the top right side again those four icons. The first icon is to create a file. Let's just click on that. We are going to create three files majorly. It's just to create a skeleton of my project. One is app.rb. This is where I'm going to write my core logic of the function of the app that we are developing. The other will be app underscore test.rb, which is where we are going to write all the tests. And the third one will be a gem file. So gem file in Ruby is basically a file where you put all your required dependencies. It is called different things in different languages, like requirement text in Python. Similarly, we have gem file in Ruby. Okay. So I'll just go ahead and create those three files: app.rb, then app underscore test.rb, and then gem file. Just make sure that G is capital in your gem file. That's the convention that we follow in Ruby. Okay, so this is our project setup. Let me know if you guys have done this. Okay. So we'll go ahead for the next step and we'll just start implementation now. All right. Okay. So I'm sure you would have used ChatGPT or Gemini in the past. We use natural language to give prompts and then we expect some response, right? Duet AI works similarly. We use natural language, we give it some context, and then we ask some response. Okay. So in this scenario, what we are going to tell Duet AI that, hey, you are a software engineer and you know Ruby very well, and we want to build a Ruby calculator app. Okay. So please help us write the test cases for it. You can just copy that command prompt from the codelab if you want. So I'll go ahead and open the Duet AI window from the left hand side menu. And in the prompt, I'm just going to write the same thing, like whatever I copied from that, and enter. Okay. So, okay, another thing that I missed to tell you is we are specifying that we want to use mini test gem. A gem is nothing but a library or SDK in Ruby, and mini test is a very lightweight test framework. We don't want to use anything heavy for this code lab, and that's why we have specified that uh, to make our job easy for this code lab. Okay. So now if you see the response, at least in my window, I can see that it has created 4 test cases for me. One is to add numbers, then subtract numbers, and then multiply and then divide, right? And then it also explain, what the code is. So, and what it does. So, okay, it looks good to me, and I want that in my app underscore test.rb. So if you see on the right hand side in the editor, all my 3 files are open. Okay. It may not be open for you, so I'll ask you to just go to Explorer tab and then open it. Okay. Or just like click on it and it will open it for you on the right hand side. So whatever Duet AI has given, I can either copy the whole thing or I can use this plus sign. This plus sign will just include everything in my file in the app underscore test.rb. So let's just go ahead and add the code in the app underscore test.rb. Okay, so we have the test now. We have the test cases. This is a very simple calculator app of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So now let's ask Duet AI, how do I run these tests? You know, and I've just copied the prompt from the code lab. So we'll go ahead, and for me, the Duet AI chat is already open. So I'll enter this prompt that I just copied. And okay, so it gives me the list of things that I need to do. First of all, I need to have the mini test dependency installed, right? That we didn't do. So what we'll do is we'll just copy this command which says gem space install space mini test. Okay. Now we want a terminal where we want to run this. So for that, okay, before I do that, can you all just show me thumbs up if you are all here? Okay, thank you. So yeah, for that, let's go back to my Explorer tab. Okay, by now I think we know what Explorer tab is and where it is. Let's go there, and in that app underscore test.rb, just right click. And when you right click, you will see an option open in integrated terminal. I want you to click on that. it will open up a terminal for you within the same window. Like I said, we're not moving away from this window. We'll do everything over here. Okay. So within this window, it will open a terminal for you, and the current directory in the window will be the project that we are working on by default. We don't really need to do anything for that. Ideally, that should be the case. If it is not, just cd to that folder. Okay. And let's go back to the Duet AI chat again and copy this gem install mini test. This is the command to install any dependency in Ruby. Just copy that and run. Okay, for me, the mini test gem is already installed. How do I check that? Just copy this first command which says gem list. It will give you a bunch of gems, but one of them will be mini test as well, I'm sure. Uh, yeah. Okay, so we have the dependency installed, and now the command to run the test is ruby space app underscore test.rb, basically the test file and along with the path. So just copy that command and run it in the terminal. Naturally, it will fail because we don't have any code to do the addition, subtraction, multiplication, right? It will give you an error most likely. All the test cases will fail, and it will give you an error that uninitialized constant calculator. So we're trying to use a calculator, but we haven't really defined a calculator class yet. So now we need to create a class. So we'll ask Duet AI and we'll ask it to help us. Okay. But before we do that, can you all show me a thumbs up if you're done? Awesome. So let's go back to the code lab now. And the error message that we received was uninitialized constant calculator, right? So let's just copy the entire error message and send it to Duet AI. Let's see if it can recognize that. Okay, so my Duet AI chat window is open on the left. I am just going to go ahead and paste that same error message. Okay, so the Duet AI tells me the reason why the error is there. It basically says you don't have a calculator class, and here is how you can create a calculator class. So again, on the right hand side, I'll open app.rb. Okay, and whatever code is there, I want that in app.rb. So I'll click on the plus sign. Awesome. The calculator class is defined. All 4 operations are defined. Looks fine. Okay, we have the code, we have the test cases. So we should be able to run the test now. So go to terminal and run the test command again, which is ruby space app underscore test.rb. Okay, so we got all 4 errors, all the 4 test cases failed, and with the same error message. We have the calculator class defined, now we don't know what's happening. So we'll ask Duet AI again. Okay, before we do that, are we all here? Amazing. Okay, so I'll go to the next step, and we are going to ask the same question to Duet AI again, that I'm still getting this error. So I'm just going to copy the prompt from the code lab, and I'm going to put it here in the Duet AI chat window. Okay, and what I'm saying to Duet AI is, you know what, I'm still getting the same error. Let's see. Okay, so Duet AI says, the class is not defined. So sometimes this may happen that Duet AI is not able to understand what you are trying to say, and we may have to tweak or may have to iteratively figure out a prompt, right? It's a natural language that it is not able to understand, so we have to be probably more specific on what we are trying to do. So let's just go back to the code lab again and copy the next prompt. Basically, we are going to tell Duet AI that my calculator class is already defined. I don't know what else is going on. So I'll just copy paste that, and it gave me the same response. So this is also possible that it keeps you a repeated response sometimes. So we'll have to tweak around a little bit. Okay, let's see. The class is already defined in app.rb, and I am still getting the error, and I'll just copy paste the error again. Cool. Let's see. Kind of starts repeating itself. Okay. At this point of time, we might have to do a little bit more tweaking, or we can just try another option. The Duet AI gives you 2, 3 features like we explained in the beginning. One is prompting using the natural language. The other is if you could just paste your code base over here in the chat prompt, it will explain what the code does. So if you don't know any language very well, that will help you. And the other is code suggestion. So let's say I start typing something here, it will suggest me the code. So I didn't do anything yet. I just pressed an enter, and it suggested. If you guys are able to see, uh, there is code in the tech gray color. This is the Duet AI suggestion, and it also says try control enter for enhanced suggestion. Okay, so if you want to accept that suggestion, press tab. If you don't want to accept the suggestion, press escape. Okay, I do want to accept the suggestion. This is what was missing. We know that the class is defined in app.rb, and we know that the test cases are there in app test, but we the app test doesn't know where the class is defined, so we need to require that app class. So yeah, this is what I did. I didn't ask Duet AI to suggest me that, it just suggested, because for me the auto completion is on. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll just run the test cases once again. Okay, so for me there's one failure but 0 errors. So all other test cases passed except for the division one. I'll tell you what to do with that. But before that, are we all here? Can you show me thumbs up?
Which step of the
Cool.
code lab are we in?
We are in fifth step. Cool. Okay. So you see all the test cases passed except for the division one. Because in Ruby, when you do a division operation, it always returns an integer. It never returns a float. So we can either modify the test case, or we can just modify our code, or we can just ask Duet AI. So I'm just going to tell Duet AI that in Ruby, the division operation does not return, uh, sorry, returns only integer. Okay, let's see what it says. Okay, let's try once again. Modify the divide operation. Okay, it worked this time. So what it says is it gives us new code for divide operation. Okay, so I'll open app.rb on the right hand side window and copy the divide operation and just replace it here with this. So with this we are okay, sorry, my bad. So with this we are making sure that we'll get float once we do divide, and yeah, we won't get only integers. So go to terminal again and run the test. And if everything goes well, all your test cases should pass. So this is that one tweaking that we did, which was not there in the code lab. So if you guys are here, please just add this dot to underscore f in your code, and the test cases should pass. I'll take a pause here and I'll wait for you guys to complete this step and let me know with thumbs up.
Folks who are able to complete the step until here, could you please share show of thumbs, please, at this point? Okay. There's a question from Advait. Did you make any change in the app test.rb?
Not bit, not really. I didn't make any changes in app underscore test.rb, but I did make changes in app.rb, which is only in the divide operation.
Also note that the final state of all these snippets, or all these classes are available in step.
Yeah, towards the end and also in this step, which is step number 5, you will be able to see the complete code of the app underscore test.rb, and towards the end you will be able to see the complete code for app.rb. If you just keep those two and run whatever is there in codelab, you will be able to complete the codelab. Okay, so I hope many of you have completed this step, and someone's asking how this is TDD. So let me just explain. So you guys just saw that we developed a very simple calculator app, but we used the TDD approach, as in we created the test first, and then according to the test, to satisfy those tests, we created the code. The test cases were failing before because we didn't have the code, but now they are passing. That is how TDD approach works in real life as well. Does that answer your question? Morely, yes. That's how these two are connected. Since we have required app.rb and app underscore test.rb, we are able to use calculator class, which is defined in app.rb. Cool. Okay. Uh, Without wasting much more time, I'll just proceed to the next step now. Okay. Okay, so with the next step, we'll also try to deploy this whole application that we just created into Cloud Functions. What is Cloud Functions? Cloud Functions is a serverless platform where we can just deploy any of our code in any language and just see it in action. Like we'll do that now, and you'll understand what I mean. Okay, so but we'll take help from Duet AI, of course. So we'll take this prompt. Let's deploy this app to Cloud Functions. You can copy the prompt from the code lab and put it in the Duet AI chat window. Okay. Okay, so Duet AI explains how I can deploy my app to Cloud Functions by going to the Cloud Functions API on the UI and following these steps. But I don't want to do that. Like I said, I want to stick to this window and perform everything over here. So we'll go back to the code lab again, and this time we'll be more specific. We'll ask Duet AI, how do I deploy to Cloud Functions using the gcloud command? Okay, so let's put that in the prompt, and we get the command to run to deploy the app to Google Cloud Function. Okay, let's just copy that and then go to your terminal. In the terminal, just paste that command and wait for it. So in the command, you can see certain things. For example, gcloud, like I already explained, the cloud shell comes with all these commands pre-built, uh, pre-installed for you, so you don't have to go through that process. Gcloud function, it's again a command. We are asking it to deploy a calculator app. We have named our app as calculator. We are going to use Ruby 3.1 as the version here, and we are also going to allow unauthenticated requests. So in this one, we in this code lab, we are not going to go through the authentication process. So either you copy this command from here or from the code lab, as in either you copy the command or what Duet AI gives you, or from the code lab. Let's say for whatever reason, if you don't have this allow authenticated at the end, for example, and you run this deploy function, it will prompt you to ask if you are going to allow an authenticated operation or not. Please click on the yes, like please just enter Y and enter. Okay, so I'm just going to enter this command and see what happens. Okay, so I encountered another error saying my project is not set up. So when I am typing this command, when I'm deploying, I also need to tell it which project I want to deploy, which project I want to use. So just space hyphen project and pass on the project ID. So my project ID is this. I'll just copy this and put it here. You guys don't need to do this if you're just copying what is there on CodeLab. In the CodeLab, I already have this. But instead of project ID, okay, this one. Instead of, sorry, oh, it's not here as well. Okay, my bad. Please make sure that in the gcloud functions deploy command, at the end, you are writing hyphen project space project ID. I'll just ping this command in the chat as well. Yes, Navya, that looks good. Gen 2 is fine. Ruby 3.2 is also fine. Just make sure that you are passing project ID as well. You guys might see slightly different command. You can enter that, or you can just follow the code lab, whatever works for you. Okay, I'm just going to enter again. Okay, for me, it says Ruby 3.1 is not supported in runtime for gcloud functions. So we'll just go ahead and change it to Ruby 3.2. Like most of you have received Ruby 3.2 only. And if you have not, please make it Ruby 3.2, and that's what is there in the code lab also. Enter. So the deployment will take a while. Meanwhile, let me see questions. Shyam Sundar, you need to replace the capital project ID with your project ID. Lingam, this sounds good. Yes, just follow what we are doing right now. Try to learn what's happening, and then you can follow the code lab later. Okay. Uh, so the gcloud functions deploy failed for me. Okay, and the error message says is that could not find gem file lock in your app. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and ask this question to Duet AI. It's also there in the code lab. You can just copy the prompt from the code lab or the error message that you have received. I'll go ahead and copy that error message on Duet AI chat window. See, it explains first of all what code gem file lock is. I'll just give you a brief explanation on that. So we have the gem file, right, where we have all the dependencies listed. Once we install the dependencies, the system generates a file called gemfile.log, where it logs all the versions of all the dependencies that we have. So you can just see it. But it's a system generated file, you do not create it. So in order to create that, uh, okay, yeah. So in order to create that, what it says is you just need to run bundle install. This is the command to basically install all the dependencies that is there in the gem file. So even though we don't have any dependencies in the gem file at the moment, we still need the log file in order to deploy to Google Cloud Functions. And we will be going ahead and adding some gem dependencies over there. So for now, in the terminal, just enter bundle install, bundle space install. It will be there in the code lab as well. Okay. So for me, the dependencies are installed. Okay. And when you're running this bundle install, you might encounter this warning or an error message, depends, that a source is not defined in the gem file. So what we'll do is we'll just copy this command. I'm just going to paste in the chat. It's also there in the code lab. We'll open the gem file and we'll just have that command as the first line in the gem file. Okay, and we'll run the bundle install again, and that warning should go away. Cool. And if I go to Explorer tab, for me the gem file lock is created. So ideally that error should be gone now. Can you guys show me thumbs up if you are able to reach this step? Okay, awesome. So let's do one thing. Let's go back and uh, try deploying again, since we have now tried to resolve the error. It will take a while again. And just open the video chat and let's see. Ayushi, the exact command is there in the code lab. I will request you to just take from there. Otherwise, it will just get lost in this chat window. Ipsita, can you just please ping the error message in the chat? Shyam Sundar, yeah, you need to, the command is hyphen project, not projects. Remove that S. Okay, so we encountered another error. And the error says unable to execute functions framework Ruby. Please ensure a recent version of the functions framework gem is in your file. Um, let's just ask what Duet AI, says. Let's see what it says. Again, the same command will be there in the next step on the code lab in step number 7. You can just copy from there. I'll just put the same error message in the chat window, Duet AI chat window. So the error message is self-explanatory. We are basically missing a dependency called functions framework, which is required in order to deploy on cloud functions, right? So there are multiple ways of doing that. You might be getting different result. We got a different result when we were making the code lab. So in code lab, there is something else. But it ultimately does the same thing. It installs the dependency for us. So, okay, what I'll ask you to do is just copy this command. I'll put that in the chat also. And run this in your terminal. Bundle add functions underscore framework. This will basically add this functions framework in our gem file, install the dependency for me, and update the gem file lock also. You see my gem file lock is updated. And my gem file is also updated. I didn't manually add this. Okay. So we have the dependency in place which we needed to deploy two cloud functions. Are you guys all here? Let me see. Navya, the deprecated warning that you're getting, for that, just add the source, uh, this source from the in the gem file, the first line that is there, source rubygems.org, and that warning should go away. And even the could not find gem, whatever we just did in the command, just type bundle add functions framework, and the error will go away. Okay, shall we move to the next step now? Thumbs up. Okay, cool. So let's try deploying that again. We'll use the same command that we used before. This will take a while. Morely, the step for gem file lock is just bundle add functions. Sorry, gem file lock is just bundle install. Just run bundle install, it will create gem file lock for you. Shreya, can you please copy the gcloud command from codelab? Ruby 3.1 is not supported in Google Cloud Function. We are going to use Ruby 3.2. We are using 3.2. Ayushi, same thing for you. Please use command from the codelab. Ruby 3.1 is not supported in Google Cloud Function. Ruby 3.2 is. Okay, awesome. So for me, that error went away and I have another error. So let's ask Duet AI. So we are here, we are done with this step. Okay, so this time I'm not going to ask Duet AI and use another feature of Duet AI. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's try the auto suggestion feature of Duet AI. Open app.rb. It should look similar to what I have here. And just enter. Go to the first line and start typing functions, F capital, framework, again F capital. Okay, and then type dot HTTP. Okay, and if you're not able to see any suggestion by now, just press Control Enter. It'll say it is generating suggestions. Okay, it didn't do that for me. Oh, it did. Okay. So it gave me a lot of code in the gray text, right? I will require some of these, but I won't require a lot of it. But I'll go ahead and accept the suggestion by pressing tab. Okay. And since the calculator class is already defined for me, I am going to just remove that code. So again, FYI, and you may or may not see the same suggestion. Whatever suggestion you see, I'll just explain what we are trying to do here. So accordingly, you can accept or reject the suggestion. So we have the calculator class already. So if it is giving you calculator class, we don't need that. Just remove it. Let's go back. Okay. So functions framework.htp is actually creating that entry point for us. One second. So if you go to codelab and see the Google Cloud deploy function command, there is another option called entry point app. Even though we haven't written that here, it I think by default assumes that, but I'm going to be very specific here, explicitly taking that. This is all there in the codelab. I'm not doing anything extra here. Okay, but we need to define where that entry point is. So that functions framework does that for us. So since it didn't know what we are naming it, we'll just change it then to app. So functions framework.htp app creates that entry point app for us. So now if we try to deploy, that Google Cloud Function deployment should not complain about this at least. And we also get a request object. It explains what the request object is, how we can access it, right? It's a basically rack request. So let's say you're entering a URL, right? You have code path, you have query parameters, you have request body. All of that will be captured in the request. So we are going to use some query parameters which where we'll pass, let's say, two integers, okay, for adding, for multiplying, and stuff like that. So we'll access that from the request object. So these are all comments. We'll ignore that. And see, it has instantiated the class for us, calculator class, and it is calling calculator.add and it's just passing 2, 3 on its behalf. Okay, so we'll just keep it this way for now. And for sake of simplicity, we'll just remove this code for now. Okay, and what we'll return is just this result, and it just gave me the auto completion. I'm just going to return the result for now. Just for now, we'll improve this. Okay, so let's go back and use the deploy command again in the terminal. Okay, before we go ahead, do you guys have the functions framework with you? If not, it's there in the code lab. Whatever is supposed to be there, the functions framework, you can just copy this as well. It is just doing the same thing that we are doing. For now, in this one, we have it hard coded, but we'll also take it from request parameter. Just for now, let's try and deploy now. Meanwhile, let me see. Congratulations, Arjun, you're able to deploy. Shreya, can you please try the gcloud command from codelab and just try it again? I have some syntax error. I have an extra and here. I'm just going to remove it and run the deployment again. People who have already completed, congratulations. Just wait for us. We are lagging behind, and then we'll get to conclusion.
Don't read the chat. I just pinged. Duet AI is for people like this with a lot of errors. People
Saw
like
that.
us. People like us with a lot of errors. No, but this is a good experience because we want to know how we are using.
If you have already completed the deployment, you can just type it in the chat, let us know. Or you can use the thumbs up emojis also. Okay, awesome. It's done for me also, finally. And you will see bunch of details once the deployment is done. One of the things will be a URL for your app. Let me just locate that. Where did it go? Okay. So you should be able to see a URL, and the URL will be something like, region and then your project name dot cloudfunctions.net/calculator, or it can be something completely different. Uh, but anyway, you should be able to see that URL in the response. I'll just go to the next step. Once you see the URL, just click on it, open the URL in a different page, different tab. For me, it works. I can see the result 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. Uh, we can do the same thing for other operations also. And let's just do that. So now we'll pass the query parameters and we'll accept that. So let's name first variable as A and the other variable as B. I didn't type anything apart from A is equals to, and it gave me the entire code. I'm just going to press tab and accept that code suggestion. And instead of 2 and 3, I'll just make it A and B. And I'll name it as add underscore result. In Ruby, all the variables are snake cased, and it also gave me the suggestion of subtract, multiply, and divide. So I'm just going to accept those suggestions as well by pressing tab. And in the result, it gave me the suggestion. I'm just going to press tab again. I got the result. Again tab, and that's it. So now I should be able to see all operations result, add, multiply. So I'll just deploy the new code again. So these are just basic operations of a calculator app. If you just ask Duet AI that you want it to be more complicated, like square, root, power, or whatever you want, you can just ask Duet AI and it will generate for you. Since you have the whole skeleton ready, you have all the nitty-gritties, all the configurations ready. It is just a matter of adding or removing more operations. Let me check the chart. Navya, can you go back to your integrated terminal and see what the error message is? Ipsita, can you please make sure that you're following the same command that is there on codelab and try running the deployment again? Okay, so my app is deployed. What I'll do is if the URL is same for me, and what I ask you also guys to do that, put a question mark at the end. A is equal to some value, let's say 10, and ampersand. B is equal to 5. Okay, and enter. What? Just a second. Just give me a second. If at all you're seeing this internal server error or an expected internal error, there is something that we have messed up in our code. If you want to see the log, you will have to go to the Google Cloud Functions page and see the logs. I think that will be too much for this session. So I'm just trying to minimize all the errors that we can get and resolve that for now, at least for this session. Ipshita, I'm not sure what's going on there. This is the first time I'm seeing this error. I don't know what to say. We'll have to debug it further. Murli, that app.rb you can see in the code lab, or it's right here in the window. Let me just remove all the comments. And till then, I'll just try if it's still giving me that error. Mhm. Maybe we have a teeny tiny mistake somewhere. Let me just see what's going on. Oh, okay. I think I know. Um, I guess it's not dot query params like we see in the code lab. It's just params. So maybe query params also work, but it's not a hash that we can access with the string. So for this code lab, we'll just make it params. You guys can take it from the code lab. Whatever is there should work, or whatever is suggested by Duet AI. But if it has suggested query params, just convert it to params. Okay, so I got the hard coded result. I'll just make sure this is also working. Just give me 2 minutes. Shubranil, can you please add this at the end of your deployment command?
Yes, completed.
Completed? Okay. Okay, let's see. We, we pass A is equal to 4 and B is equal to. So I got only addition result because that's what I had deployed. I am just going to add other operations also in the return and deploy it again. But yeah, I think you got the gist. This is how it will be done. And so I just want to conclude with this. I hope you guys have all done this. Just show of thumbs of how many of you are able to see your URL working fine and all other operations.
That's great for the folks who are able to complete it. Those who have issues or had deployment issues, don't worry about it at all. Don't need to panic. Everything that we discussed, that Neha walked you through today, is available, made available in the code lab. So make sure you go through each step and follow it as it is in the code lab. Of course, like we always say, Duet AI responses are non-deterministic. So sometimes you may get multiple ways to do a certain thing. But if we want the code to work per what is given in the code lab, we can always fall back to the code snippets that are provisioned probably towards the end of the lab. Or you can follow Duet AI's path and get your code to working. So the overall objective for this session was for you to understand test-driven development and how Duet AI can aid in getting the test cases and the test plan ready. Even if you want a test plan that is more theoretical, just the verbiage for what exactly do you want to include in your test cases, even that you can ask in the Duet AI chat console and get all the test cases defined for you and which you can convert into program as well. Or if you have the test plan ready with the test cases that's given by your automation test or your manual testing team, you can convert the test draft into test plan or test cases draft into code using Duet AI chat console. And some of it you can also write comments and convert that into code from your code suggestion method that we use from the editor. Is everything you wanted to discuss completed?
I would just conclude
Mhm.
this session. So we saw that we didn't have to write a lot of code, right? We didn't write a single line of code by hand. It was all Duet AI which gave us the suggestion. So that may not be the case in the real life complex scenario, since it was a simple result, we could get it. But all I'm trying to say is this will help you accelerate or increase your productivity. Let's say you write one test case, and the further test cases you don't need to manually type. You can just ask Duet AI to just type similar, get me similar test cases. And anybody can use Duet AI. You don't need to have an experience, a beginner, an intermediate, or an experienced developer. Anybody. I would highly encourage you guys to try this out and see if it helps you. Like any other thing, it might just take time to get hang of it, but once you do, I'm sure you'll like it. So thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much for being here, and yeah, all the best.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you so much, Neha. Hi, everyone. Just a couple more minutes. Please stay back with me. We are almost done. I just wanted to share a few things about how you'll submit the result for this particular session. So, can you switch to CodeLab, step 5? Yeah. So, if you go to CodeLab, step 5, Duet AI driven implementation, scroll up to the top, the first prompt. Yeah. If you see the first prompt, answer as a software engineer, uh, with Ruby expertise. We want to build a Ruby calculator, blah, blah, blah. So copy that prompt. So let me share my screen so it's easy for us to navigate. So bear with me for a bit. Okay, here we go. So I have my code lab up here. Go to step 5, first prompt that Neha has. Here, answer is Duet AI driven implementation. Answer as a software engineer with Ruby expertise, we want to build a Ruby calculator application with a test driven development approach. Let's start by writing some tests for the calculator app using mini test gem. So this is the prompt. I hope you all would have completed the program. If not, take your time, complete the entire code lab. But when you're doing this particular step, just copy the prompt, or when you come done with the code lab, come back to this step. Go to Duet AI conversational chat, the chat in the Duet AI console. If you click the Duet AI icon from console.cloud.google.com, that's where probably you would have entered all the questions, right? So click the open Duet AI chat icon. It should open right here, pop out into a new window, and then in the chat text box over there, it says enter a prompt here. Paste the prompt, right? Um, Send the prompt. You would have already got the result, but this is what we want to submit in screenshot. So I'll tell you from which point. So if you can see, you have to have your test result like this. Do you see here in my snipping tool? So copy this, and yours should be from Duet AI Cloud Console to this point. All right. So make sure you get this in your result. And that is what you need to upload. And where do you upload? I'll send the results uploading URL. So I've just pinned it in the chat. If you go in there, you can probably see the result submission tool. So this is what the result submission tool looks like. Once you click this result submission tool, you will land on this app. If this is the first time you're submitting, you have to sign up with a lab code or user code, whatever you want to call it. It's a code which is unique to you. So enter whatever you want, of course, without any profanity. Make sure you remember it because this is the same code, user code or lab code that you have to enter for submitting all the 5 sessions results. So use this to submit. I've already created mine, so I'm going to just use that and I'll click submit. Once you click submit, it opens up the page like this. So select the season, select the session. This is session 3 and select the step. The step is step 5 and the name of the step is Duet AI driven implementation. And choose file. I have saved my file already. So I'll select that. I'll choose the specific file that I want to upload. And then I'll click validate result. At the end of the result, validation, you should see a message, you should see a form which says approved or not, depending on what you have uploaded. And you can get this. So my result is approved, update successful, and my score is updated to 1. All right. If by any chance you're not able to get the result updated, or you got any error, but you feel that you have already selected everything that's needed, but still it is not approving your result after multiple tries, then feel free to use the request intervention button here, which allows you to submit in a form. So what you do in this is still you need to use a lab code or user code that you use to register, and then upload this JPG file in the form. But the best way to go about this is to use the app. Only if it does not approve yours after 5 tries or 3 tries, then go for the request intervention method. All right. So that's about it. All other details that you need is available here in codevipassana.dev. I have uploaded this in the chat as well. A recording of how to submit the result is also available there. A recording of how to, not recording, a doc of how to activate your credits. Everything is available, and everything else that you need to implement the project is there in your code lab. So with that, we complete today's session. If you face errors, if it's not approving your result, then only go for manual intervention after 3 tries at least. If you feel like your response is different from what is there in my screenshot, it might be slightly different. That is okay. Still submit and see if it's approving it. All right. So that's pretty much it. Go to codevipassana.dev. You will find details like, let me share that one last time as well. Before we close out the session, I want to show you the Code Vipassana website. All right. So this is what it looks like. If you scroll down, you can see the registration, which you would have all done. That's why you're in the session. So we are in session 3. If you notice, there is codelab link, meeting link, and the session recording. So this link will be updated after a few minutes. Once the recording is made available to me, I'll process that and upload it here. You should also receive an email from the portal. You should also receive email from the site in order to view this recording, or in order to activate the credits and submit the results, and all the details and the steps required to submit your results in the result submission app will also be included in the email that is being sent to you by the program. So scroll down, you can also see the result submission and validation details right here. This link allows you to go to the app. The video instructions which are created is available in this link as well. And scroll down. If you face errors and you're not able to proceed with this implementation, you can always join the Discord group and talk to the Code Vipassana community leads, who graciously accepted to be a part or to lead the initiative and respond to your queries, and we would respond to you in the Discord group. Please do not reach out to them in any other mode. Use the Discord channel, because that's where all of us are available and will be able to provide a response timely to you. All right. So that's pretty much it. I'll stop sharing now, and thank you everybody for joining the call and for staying back for a few more minutes. All right. So in the interest of time, we'll close here. Any doubts you have, please ask in the Discord group. We are not opening for Q&A at this point, because I think Neha addressed a lot of questions on the chat itself. Thanks a lot, Neha. This was really great. And thanks to all the Code Vipassana leads as always, because without you, this program will not exist. And without the community who participates in the program continuously, with the intention of learning and evolving at Google Cloud, and also building applications for your own projects or your own applications, or for your organization, the learning the intent to achieve from this program is what keeps us driving as well. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.